ඇස් විහිදෙන ජීවිතේ.
ශ්‍රී ලංකාව කුඩා රටක් නෙවෙයි, භූමිය වගේ අටගුණයක මුහුදක්.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And a very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Newsline Live. We are broadcasting, as we almost always do, from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. Now then, on the day when we bid General Shavendra Silva very well on his retirement as the commander of Sri Lanka's army, and he moves on to the post of Chief of Defence Services, and we welcome the 24th Commander of Sri Lanka's Army, Major General Weerasinghe. And on the day that Mrs. Sashi Weerasinghe makes bail, and also on the day that the presidential pardon given to Minister Silva has been suspended by the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka, and governance issues are still raging, and the people's social distress has more or less intensified, and the people are apparently immune to what the goings on of politics and the appointment of a new prime minister and so on and so forth. Medicine shortages, rising food prices, and a looming food crisis, experts say by August. We have got here the General Secretary of the Communist Party of Sri Lanka, Dr.G.Weerasinghe, and we want to ask him what is the stance of the Communist Party, which is more important, so resolving the people's distress or getting a new constitution and perhaps even ridding ourselves of the executive presidency. Let's find out, shall we? Very good evening to you, Dr. Weerasinghe.
Good evening.
What is
nice to see you.
Thank you very much indeed. It's a pleasure to see you. Now then, all those things I said, but you know, the medicine prices, it's almost disgraceful. I won't tell you the name of the medicine, but I had to pay several times more yesterday for that medicine than I had paid previously. The food prices, I was just told by our cameraman this evening that, you know, the price of milk powder has gone through the roof. Another one told me today that it's gone off the list. Drinking milk tea has gone off the list. So what's going on? What's more important? A new constitution amendment, 21st or whatever it is?
Obviously, it is the most important aspect of the crisis is the shortages of food and the rising prices, and the shortage of medicine and scarcity of these items. It's food, it's electricity, it's gas, it's petrol, it's diesel. Everywhere we have issues. Probably we need to get these problems sorted. But having said that, for us, I don't see that there is a difficulty in bringing the 21st Amendment to the Constitution parallelly. We have a cabinet of ministers, and we have the duties, or rather the responsibilities assigned to them.
Yeah.
And we have a Minister of Justice, and who is responsible for constitutional affairs as well, right? And then of course you have a whole battery of ministers, or many ministers, to look after the issues that we just mentioned here, like you know, the issues related to rising prices, and issues related to shortages of food, medicine, petrol, diesel kind of things. So therefore it's my view that, you know, we don't need to see them as one stand against the other.
Okay.
Probably we can work in both areas parallelly.
So like a dual track.
Dual track, yeah, dual track. Because why do I say so, right? You know, you have to be responsive and you have to be sensitive towards the aspiration of the people of the country, right? And it's true that, you know, we are in a crisis that we have never seen in our history, right? So, you know, we have to, you know, there was a desire, or there was a request from people to have an all-party government, you know, which we did not, we could not realize. But same time, there are people who are talking about the executive presidency. Actually, there is a slogan that is going on in the goal face, asking president to go home, Gota go home, right?
But it appears that Gota is deaf. Doesn't, even if he's hearing it, then he's not actioning it, which is against what the people want.
Yeah, you see that now, but we have to probably understand, right? Now, Gota go home is one slogan, which I could characterize as an umbrella slogan, which reflects many other issues, right? You know, all these started with the rest of the issues that we just listed here. You know, they came up first. You see, the electricity outage, and then from 13 hours a day.
Actually, it all started with the farmers.
Farmers last year.
The farmers took to the streets to protest because they knew what was going on.
Yeah, of course, fully agree. From last year, right? Last April. So, you know, and you know, these protest movements were coming up, and of course, and then there were people who thought that, you know, Gotabaya Rajapaksa is responsible for all these things. Therefore, you see, reflecting everything else.
But who is, if he is not, are you implying that he is not responsible?
No, he is. Definitely, definitely is responsible. But you know, especially the government that we just had for last 2 years or so, right? Is responsible. Gotabaya Rajapaksa is responsible. But the same time, I would be happy to explain, or rather discuss, the, you know, the current situation as a result of the economic policies that we have been carrying out for last 3 or 4 decades in this country, right? But having said that, I agree, right? The most ignorant and most ignorant administration that we are experiencing, or we experience under the presidency of Gotabaya Rajapaksa, and the government, the government, the you know, recently dissolved government, of course, are responsible for the current situation.
Dr. Weerasinghe, now, thank you very much for your questions. SMS, WhatsApp, 0772 300 305. 0772 300 305. Now then, one question being raised by a member of the public is the price rises in terms of all these essential and mostly imported items is due to the fact that the rupee was devalued over 100%. The curbside rate for US dollars today was 375.50. That's the curbside rate. That's incredibly expensive. It's more than it was. 180 it was. So obviously the prices have gone up. So what do the people who were clamoring to go for a devaluation, what do they say now to the people? It's the people who are still suffering.
I agree. For us, I agree fully, right? Now, what happened to rupee is that, you know, that the government was, I mean, you know, during the during the leadership of the previous governor of the central bank, you know, they were trying to artificially keep the rupee at a higher level, right?
Were they also artificially trying then to maintain the level of prices? Because obviously, perhaps they realized that the people can't really afford. Like the person who told me that drinking milk tea is now off the plan because they just can't afford the high price of powdered milk. So were they also trying to achieve that stability of the prices?
Yeah, you see that was the calculation probably of the governor, that they thought that they would be able to control the value of rupee in that way and to control the situation.
Yeah.
But it was it is being proved now. You see that they have that was incorrect, and the country is paying dearly for what they have done, right? But having said that, that the scarcity of dollars, right? So we now
why is that?
Yeah, you see that now, when Gotabaya Rajapaksa came to power, that there was around 7.9 billion US dollars in the reserve, right? By end of last April, early this month, May, right? It has become almost zero, right? I mean,
why is that? Because why?
Yeah, because you see that they have taken country on a sleepwalk to that level, right? And probably you see that they were, now actually, we are spending our dollars to import various things, right? To import various things, and of course they use that money to do the servicing for the debt, right? And we can remember in the last days of the office of Cabral in the central bank, we can remember that he probably paid around 500 million, when the entire country was asking not to do that, but he did that, right? For probably international sovereign bonds, right? But what I want to tell you here is that we had a limited amount of foreign reserves, which was managed very poorly, right? Which was managed very poorly, and due to certain situations in the world, like COVID epidemic, and then the economies were they were not functioning, right? And then of course we did not have tourism, right? Industry was collapsed, and then of course that the remittance from the expats also became less and less. So in that situation, they had to manage whatever we had in the reserve in a wise manner, right? Which did not happen that way, and so we came to the situation that we are.
So it was a bit of a double whammy, though. When President Gotabaya gave, as he came in, gave those tax breaks as he promised during the election, and then when COVID hit him quite unexpectedly, he could quite easily have done a U-turn and reversed it, but he didn't do that. The bottom fell out of tourism. The expatriate workers, that those remittances came down by half, although there was one period when it was actually at its highest ever, but that was because a lot of people coming back and taking final dues. So don't you think that the whole thing with shall we say that there was a sense of stubbornness and dollops of misunderstanding, or certainly misunderstanding of the real issues on the part of the president?
Yeah, of course. He was, I don't know, I mean, you try to probably use polite words here.
Well, I mean, this is a family channel, and I don't want to use...
He's stubborn, he was stubborn.
But I can quote from Golface.
Yeah, probably he seems to be, ignorant on these matters. And of course, the worst thing...
You don't have to be a specialist, but you can bring in proper people.
Exactly. So why what made him to, I mean, why he could not discuss these matters with people who know them? And I can tell you one instance, you see, about that which happened 2 years back. That was in 2020, November, right? December, right? There was a meeting with the president. You know, that was a meeting of the ruling, coalition. So I was there with Comrade Dr.G.Weerasinghe, you know, and of course, Comrade Weerasinghe, the MP of our party. And, you know, it was a fairly big meeting. We were discussing COVID, right? But at the end of that meeting, Comrade Dr.G.Weerasinghe, who was sitting right in front of President, got up from his seat and he addressed the President, right? Mr. President, he said, right, Mr. President, don't worry about COVID. You know, these are his words. COVID will be looked after by the most capable medical specialists in this country, and we have a very good health system. I have no doubt that they will look after this aspect. But don't forget that we are moving towards a huge economic crisis. You know, we are moving towards an unthinkable, unimaginable crisis. You need to, talk to people about this. You need to talk to the members of the parliament about this situation.
And he said what?
You need to talk to the ministers of cabinet, right? Cabinet ministers, right? About this situation.
And what did our president say?
You know, he was sarcastically laughing and did not respond to that. Okay, this is Dr.G.Weerasinghe, one of the most senior politicians in the country, very well respected and well listened by others, but not by the president. So this is how all these things happen, no?
And on that note, on a president who Dr. Weerasinghe says didn't understand the problem, let's go for a short break and let's take a look at this evening's headlines.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali. VAT and telecommunication levy hike. Supreme Court suspends Duminda Silva's presidential pardon. Army commander bids farewell. Ministers get new subjects. Activists summoned to the CID. Queues even amidst heavy rains. Protests continue despite heavy downpours. Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. I'm in conversation with Dr.G.Weerasinghe, who is of course the General Secretary of the Communist Party of Sri Lanka. So Dr. Weerasinghe, so we have the President didn't understand a thing. He was sarcastic and so on. Okay. But now what? The people are suffering out there. The prices have gone sky high. 62% of our workforce are daily waged people. What are they going to do?
Yeah, I understand the question or the gravity of the question that you are raising for us. It's probably more than 62% in the informal sector of the economy, who are probably, most of them are daily earners, right? I don't know, you see, whether they have all 3 meals a day, right? So that is the situation. It's a very, very sad situation.
And a question from Salim in Weligama. She says, or she says, please ask for us what will happen, what would the impact be if the government failed to succumb to the people's pressure?
Yeah.
What will happen?
Yeah, you see, now, at the moment that we have a government, right? Government run by Ranil Wickremesinghe, right? And of course, and Gotabaya Rajapaksa, and there is a cabinet of ministers. People of this country probably expect from this government to bring about some solution to the acute issues that they are facing, right? They are, the rising, prices of food and other items. Then they want a solution for gas, problems, gas issues. They want solutions for petrol, diesel, right? Medicine, right? You don't have medicine in hospitals, in health system. So therefore we expect the government to bring a solution for these problems, and we know, of course, they don't have money to do all that, right? So therefore countries in need of 4 to 5 billion of US dollars, we need them urgently, right? We need them urgently. So but on the other hand, of course, the government is trying to bring this 21st Amendment kind of thing. You can work on that parallelly, but this is probably this side is more important, right? Therefore they have to do this work. They have to find solutions.
The Prime Minister just proposed to bring down personal income tax, the sort of threshold, from 3 million to 1.8 million, which is like 150,000 rupees a month, which means that the general public once again will be paying great amounts of tax now, which is fine. But I haven't heard any real saving measures from our parliamentarians. They're still using their big blessed vehicles. They've got their petrol allowances and so on and so forth. Where is the optics are wrong. The optics are wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we are in a situation where all of us have to make sacrifices. Okay. There can't be exceptions. Yeah. No, the president, neither the Prime Minister or ministers, or the members of the parliament.
We had the former president, now Prime Minister, or former Prime Minister as well, who was flown over from Trinco to Colombo in a helicopter.
Yeah. So
what's wrong on the roads? Yeah. He built them.
Yeah. So this is what I say. You see that, and all of us have to make sacrifices to overcome the situation. And you're talking about these taxes. Yeah. That now they have increased the VAT from 8% to 12%. Okay. Now the entire country will be paying, but don't forget that you have to increase the direct income tax, right? Yeah. Now currently, you see, at present, if you take the ratio, about 85 to 90% of tax revenue, they are from indirect taxes, not from direct taxes. You see, there are people in this country who earn billions of rupees, right? And who are not paying their taxes, right? So therefore you see that that, I mean, don't ask only ordinary people to tighten their belts.
Absolutely.
Let us, everybody together, face the situation. Yeah. Face the situation, right? And
I mean, sometime in the past we had the parliamentarians are pretty good at gimmicks. We had some people who turned up in Barakarate to Parliament. We had Mahinda Rajapaksa showing off his powerful physique by riding a bicycle to Parliament. I mean, I don't think he came from home. He probably got off his luxury car and then got into the bicycle, which is probably transported by another luxury vehicle and so on. So these are just gimmicks. When are they going to get real? What do you say?
Yeah, you see that now, all these people, who did all these gimmicks are responsible for what has happened to this country. Yeah. Okay. Now, now of course we are in a situation that we can't even spend our time on talking about these people.
What about the tax net? Someone's asking this thing. Should public servants who fall within this, should they too be paying taxes?
Yeah, of course they should. Now you see that now I have worked in United Kingdom, right? Yeah. I can remember when I was working there as a doctor, right? Yeah. They were charging, they were getting around about 25 to 30%, at least around 30% tax from my salary, right? So what happened in the recent past was that as soon as this government came to power, they cut off the taxes that had been paid by, or rather had been paying, the government servants were paying, you see. And I can remember I was paying the tax, which was not an issue for me.
Yeah.
Right? But as soon as the current present government came to power, not present, the previous, the government headed by Mahinda Rajapaksa came to power, they got rid of those taxes, no? And they lost billions.
Yes, the problem is, over here, you know, in the UK you have your disposable income, and so you can play ball, you can buy your food and your essentials and so on. But over here the disparity is huge. With the rising prices and the static salaries and a government which has no money to help the public, you know, even with COVID, there was nothing that the government did to help the, let's say, the hoteliers or the small and medium enterprises, apart from announcing a moratorium. But a moratorium you've got to pay back. Nothing, no amount of money was put forth by the Treasury to sort of help the people.
Yeah, for us, you know, now, you know, we probably will have to think in a broader terms about this tax issue, right? Really speaking, starting from late 70s, you see, all consecutive governments, you know, were slashing the taxes. That is what happened in this country. If we can remember the, you know, late 70s, it was around the highest slab in the tax system was around 65 to 70% highest slab, right? But then you see that has come to probably now 14% or 15%, right? It is not, it is like that you are not paying tax, okay? And they got rid of all the other taxes, right? And what was remaining was probably the VAT, right? Which is an indirect tax paid by everybody in the country, right? So this is how actually you lost the state revenue, the revenue to the country, right? And which was about 24% of the gross GDP, okay, in 1978, which came up to came down to 6%, you know, during last year, you know. So this is why you don't have rupees in the country, you know.
Here's somebody who's reminding us that are you aware that CB employees pay taxes paid by the state? Now that's one hell of a high to do, and they still haven't planned our electricity supply. There's no need to go for emergency power if they've planned it right. So sorry all you engineers over there, you've been doing very badly indeed, and there's no two ways around it. So, you know, don't set us off about that. Another one, but actually isn't this valid? You know, they're trying to do this 21st Amendment. Shouldn't one of the things that is put into our Constitution be an absolute ban on crossing over of members of parliament elected from one party and going to the other party just on the say-so of the president saying, come over here chaps, I'll give you a ministerial position? Don't you think they should ban that? And that way a lot of the corruption will go out.
Yeah, I am fully for that actually. You know, especially under the current electoral system, the members elected from parties shouldn't be allowed. They shouldn't be allowed to cross over the parties, right? That is not correct actually. You know, in the current electoral system, you know, people are voting mainly to the party. Of course, you have the preference vote there.
But Dr. Weerasinghe, we have this absolute hilarious position where the Prime Minister of our country wasn't actually elected. He was defeated in his election. Right. He's only there because of some quirk in our parliamentary laws.
Yeah, yeah. You know, now what has happened, you know, when Ranil Wickremesinghe became the Prime Minister was that, you know, that we were in a crisis situation, and if probably you know that there were political parties, there was a collective of parties which was proposing to have an all-party interim government, right? This is including our party, the Communist Party of Sri Lanka. You see, we proposed to have, you know, an interim, you know, all-party government. But unfortunately, you know, we did, you know, that though that proposal was widely accepted by various sectors of the society, religious leaders, academia, professionals.
We're just coming to the end, but could I please take this one thing that somebody is pointing out? They're saying most people in this country wouldn't have had SRCC insurance, strikes, riots, civil commotion. But yet, these parliamentarians or politicians or whoever who have had their houses burnt, the state is now considering giving them compensation. But if your house, God forbid, your house or mine or, you know, Lacron's house was burnt and he didn't have and we didn't have the SRCC, the insurance company will say bad luck. But why should these people be any different?
Yeah, you see that probably this is not the first time that you know, these kind of insurance are being paid. There had been previously also there had been instances where you know, where the people have been compensated you know, in various disasters kind of situations, right?
Dr. Weerasinghe, unfortunately, we've enjoyed having you very much. You answered lots of questions. Somebody said it's refreshing to have communists like Dr. Weerasinghe on the program. So
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And on that note, that's the way it was here on Newsline Live. Take care. It's now time for the primetime news. And as always, God bless you.